And then there's just story after story of people that came into my office for various reasons, but never to hear the story of redemption and how God got in the middle of it and changed people's lives. It's amazing. What are you doing in your office to share Jesus? Man, we say we love him. We say we serve him. But what opportunities are slipping between our fingers that we could use for God?
So what opportunities are slipping through your fingers that could be used for God? I'm Ken Powell, host of FCCI's Pathway to Purpose podcast, and we are going to hear more from Ross Allen Hill today as he speaks from his personal experience and business leadership on this episode. He shares about strategies that he deployed to provide intentional moments of engaging his faith in his daily work environment. Well, this talk was recorded at an FCCI conference many years ago when Ross was still at the helm of Bank 2, which he founded in Oklahoma City. Ross has since moved on to serve God through a new platform of business, but I love these personal testimonies that provide the impetus to make these types of spiritually motivated business activities a reality in our lives. And by the way, we'll enjoy many inspiring talks from keynote speakers and hallway conversations with other Christian business owners and leaders at this year's FCCI conference in Lake Tahoe. That's September 15 through 18 at the Everline Resort. Make plans to join us and be part of this life-changing experience. So do you have a what's it in your office? Well, here's Ross to share the story behind his unique what's it.
Well, 6 years ago, I have a friend that's an artist and a customer. And Chris had developed what is before you. It's called a Ridento Raffinado. That's Italian. I know you could tell that with the roll of my tongue and all. Just digress for a second. On that video, every time I hear myself say, my friend Ray Sanders, I think, man, I am from as far south as you can get. But anyhow, Ridento Raffinado, it means redeemed elegance. And this is hand-blown from broken pieces of glass like I'm holding in my hand. These broken pieces that are laying around the bottom of this glass, around this vase, these come from broken pieces of other art objects the artist has tried to blow. And they used to sweep them up and throw them in the trash and haul them off to the dump because they thought they were absolutely worthless. They thought they had absolutely no value. But the artist's son, Micah, kept saying, Dad, we got to figure out how to blow something out of these broken pieces. This is incredible. We're wasting a lot of glass. It's costing us money. We got to be able to make something out of them. And Chris looked at Micah and he said, Micah, even Jehuli has not been able to figure out how to blow artwork from broken pieces. It was heated to 2,000 degrees. It came out of the glory hole like liquid. The color was added to it, and then it broke in the floor, and it didn't cool down properly, and it just can't happen. Well, Micah was a faithful son, and he kept after his dad, and his dad finally gave in. And after hours and hours, days in the studio, they figured out how to create a beautiful piece of art out of broken pieces. And what they figured out was they couldn't get the outside of the vase smooth. All these pieces are different sizes and jagged and twisted and turned. And they had air pockets in them. And so it won't last. It won't be solid. It'll fall apart. So Chris had an idea. And he took what looked like round tongs, wood, and he stuck it inside the art piece and started smoothing the inside first. And when they smoothed the inside, the outside came together. The air bubbles disappeared. And they created the Ridento Raffinado. It's a perfect image of what God's got to do in each of our lives. He's got to start on the inside, on our heart first. And Chris was telling me the story, and so I went over to his shop to look at them, and I thought they were magnificent. So I just sensed God telling me I needed to have a spiritual what's-it in my office. And so I commissioned one for my office. Mine's 33 inches tall. It's glorious. It's unbelievable. I can't travel with it, so Chris made this one for me to travel with. And I commissioned it. I asked Chris to put all the colors of the rainbow in it to represent all the people of the world. And I asked him to put black in it to represent our heartaches, our brokenness, our sin, our separation from God. And I asked him to put red in it to symbolize being washed in the blood. And I asked him to put white in it to symbolize being made pure and whole. And this is a perfect image of what God does in your life. When you surrender your life to God, he remakes you and remolds you into something far more beautiful than what the original started out to be. I renamed my vase God's Glory because to me, that's the glory of God. He took all my brokenness, all my sin, all my shame, and he remolded me and remade me for his purposes. I put that in my office 6 years ago. 6 years ago next month. And I told the Lord, and I promised my wife, because they're expensive, that I would share the story of redemption with every first-time visitor to my office. And that means the guy that comes in to sweep my floor and change the light bulbs or repair things in my office. That means every first-time employee, every new employee, first-time visit in my office. Every customer that comes to see me. Every Federal Reserve Bank examiner that comes to see me. Every congressman and governor and senator that have come to see me have heard the story of redemption. I could have put a big cross on my wall, and that might have been okay. But I think maybe people would have had their defenses up. But what happens with this vase is people are drawn to it. Many, many, many times, I'm not the guy that brings it up. The first-time visitors see it, and they go, oh, what is that? That's gorgeous. And so I tell them the story. It's my spiritual what's it. Let me tell you the story. And after I tell them the story of redemption, what do I say? Tell me about your relationship with Jesus. And lives have changed in my office. Nearly 1,700 people now have heard the story of redemption in 6 years in my office. It's a powerful place to witness for God. And I've written a book about it. It's called Broken Pieces, Nothing is Wasted. And I'd love to give one or two of these away today. If you'd like one, come up. I'll autograph one and give it to you. I've got 2 to give away. And then there's just story after story of people that came into my office for various reasons, but never to hear the story of redemption and how God got in the middle of it and changed people's lives. It's amazing. What are you doing in your office? What are you doing in your office to share Jesus? Man, we say we love him. We say we serve him. But what opportunities are slipping between our fingers that we could use for God? I don't know what yours is. I'm just challenging you to think about it and figure out a way to get permission to share Jesus, to make a difference in people's lives. And recently there's a survey that said that people want to have passion for their work, and they want to create something important, and they want to make money. That's third. It used to be fourth. And have a sense of purpose. And you saw on my video at the beginning that our mission statement is we build better lives, building better lives. And when people come to work at Bank 2, they have this in their brain. They've been interviewed. They have gone through orientation. They get it in their brain. It's easy to remember, building better lives. I mean, how tough a mission statement is that? It's kind of like it goes along with the theme of this conference. Easy to remember. But I tell people within 60 days, you'll have it in your heart. Because that's everything we do at Bank 2's design and purpose is to build better lives for Jesus. So it affects our customers, our employees, everybody we touch. It's amazing. And these things feed directly into the top 4 things on that survey that employees are looking for. And I think it's one of the reasons our turnover is as low as it is, half the national average. One of the things I decided I had to do is I had to reprioritize my life. There's one that's not on there. The number one thing. Okay? It's not on there because I wanted to emphasize it to you. I wanted you to write it down in your notes if you're taking notes. Here it is. My calendar controls everything in my life. Everything. It tells me where to be, what to do, when to do it. Many of you are just like that. Our lives are crammed full. So where and when do you have time for Jesus? My lovely wife's so disciplined, she can get up at 5 in the morning. I don't like 5 in the morning at all. And I don't even hear her when she gets up most mornings. And that's when she has her time. But I was struggling having mine. And so I scheduled a meeting with the Lord, 7:30 to 9 every morning in my office. And some amazing things have happened. One, I had to remember it was a meeting with God because I'd have people call and want to have breakfast meetings. I no longer have breakfast meetings. I started reading the Bible in my office and praying in my office, and all of a sudden I had people start telling me there was something different about my office. I thought, I used deodorant. The clothes just came from the cleaners, but it's amazing. People sense the presence of God in my office. I don't know how that happens. For me, what it's done, though, is it's emboldened me to speak up about Jesus because I've already spent an hour and a half with him in my office. I was speaking at the CEO Institute in Dallas last summer, and I was telling him about that, and a couple of guys raised their hand and they go, "You mean to tell me you spend an hour and a half in your office every morning reading scripture and praying?" Yeah, it didn't start out that way. You know, it was mostly reading. And to be honest with you, an hour and a half I didn't cover a lot of times. Today, most of the time, I run out of time. And man, what about that talk we heard Monday night? Wouldn't you love to have the benefits of daily Bible study and reading and praying that was listed for us Monday night speaker? Those things were incredible, the benefits of it. And you know, I'm seeing a lot of those benefits in my life. But there's also a testimony to my people. They know that I have a spiritual life. It's amazing. So these are some of the things that we do. I have a one-to-one with every new employee for 1 hour. We have a cup of coffee or a Coke, and we just visit. And Robert, are you married?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, where'd you grow up?
Real question.
Yeah, where'd you grow up?
Southern California.
Southern California. So you look like you're a little bit Asian. I look like I'm a little bit hillbilly. What blood do you have in you?
Korean.
Corinne, cool, yeah. So what do you like to do? When you're not at work, what do you do for fun?
I spend time with the wife and kids.
What's your wife's name?
Kelly.
Well, my wife's Renelle. Did you meet her? She works with us at the bank. Have you met her yet?
I have not.
Yeah. You know, my wife and I were getting our pictures taken one day in the lobby. We had a new employee. This was before I started doing this. And I put my arm around Renelle to have our picture taken. We had a professional photographer. I was getting an award, and they wanted pictures. And this new teller was watching this. And then I held her hand for another picture. And she tells the other teller, she says, look at that. First he had his arm around her. Now he's holding her hand. And the other teller told Sheila, it's okay, they're married. But how can you speak Jesus into somebody's life? You don't even know the name of their wife is Kelly. I had a lady come and tell me she was going to have her first grandson. And I went, oh, that's great. That's fantastic. I've got 15. And she says, yeah, but they're naming him River. I said, River? It's a boy? She said, yeah. Fantastic. Do you understand all the spiritual connotations of the name River? She had never thought about it in those terms. Every time I see her after that, she had a picture of River to show me. And we had something to talk about. You know, you can't get the right to speak into people's lives about Jesus unless you know him. Did you notice me going around shaking your hands before you got here? Before we started, I tried to meet everybody I could and shake your hand to create a little rapport, to create some ability to speak into your life. It works. It's not superficial. I'm doing it because I think God wants me to do that. And let me tell you, it's tough to do that, to schedule those meetings. It's hard to find time. What more important thing do I have to do than make sure the people that work for me know Jesus? We've got atheists and Muslims and homosexuals and everybody working at bank too. And do you know that no one has refused to let me pray with them at the end of our meeting? And there's not a week goes by that some of my employees don't ask me to pray about something for them. There's a whole bunch more of these slides. I'll flip through them real quickly. But I want to tell you this. I want to conclude with this. On July 2nd, Renee gave birth to a preemie. Renee worked for us for 8 years, had several miscarriages. And we prayed for this baby together. And when she found out she was pregnant, we had high-fiving in my office and dancing, and we started praying for baby Rhea that day. She was born at 29 weeks, and things looked great. Till August 6th. She took a nosedive. August 7th, she passed away. Everybody at the bank hurt. And you can only imagine how Dwayne and Renee felt. We buried her a few days later. I don't know, about half of our staff was there. And a bunch of us donated vacation time so she could be off and receive payment. Because it had been a tough pregnancy, and she'd used all of her vacation. A week later, one of her girlfriends was also pregnant. And in the same department of the bank and gave birth to a bouncing baby boy. And a few days before she gave birth, I told her, I said, don't let what happened to your friend Renee ruin the blessing God's giving you. Renee wouldn't want that. God doesn't want that. Don't let Satan steal your joy. I held the baby last week at the bank. It was a great day. But that same day, a third girl that worked in the same department was pregnant. Went with her husband to get the ultrasound to find out the sex of the baby. And they found out that the baby didn't have either kidney or liver. And they suggested she abort it. They went to a different doctor, one with better equipment, and they found the same results, but this time they were able to name the baby Grace. And Savannah and Kirk carried the baby until she died. And last week, 40 of us were at the funeral. You know, been some tough days at Bank 2. And we were doing a fundraiser to raise money in memory of baby Rhea and drill water wells in Uganda at an orphanage. We raised $8,000 last Friday to do it. We're going to drill 4 wells in her memory, put a permanent marker there. But that week, John took Grayson, his 7-year-old, who has CP, to Shriners Hospital to see if what could be done for her. And they discovered her seizures were so violent that they need immediate brain surgery for Grayson. And life's tough. And one of my employees' wife said, man, there's a dark cloud over Bank 2. So many bad things happening there. Maybe you should look for another job. And my employee thought about it for a little bit. He's 30 years old. I was so proud of him. Because Josh says no. He said, what better place could there be than Bank 2, where we pray for our people and we care for them and we share the Lord with them. Man, you guys, this slide behind me says it all. We are the leaders. God ordained us to lead and to change lives for Him. Don't look outside your organizations. Look inside. Look at your families. Look at your neighbors. Be the light for Jesus.
You know, when we hear the founder of a bank in Oklahoma talk about establishing a what's-it in his office to initiate conversations about his faith and how he was so intentional with building healthy relationships with employees and his commitment to developing a consistent Bible study and prayer time at the start of his day in the office. Well, it's our prayer that you'll consider your own creative ways to leverage your business as a platform for ministry. If you'd like to join other Christian leaders on this journey of business leadership for Christ, please do reach out to us here at FCCI.org. Thanks for listening, and may God continue to be the inspiration of your journey as you lead a company for Christ.